Okay, YouTubers, I'm going to weigh in on a subject here. It's a little bit different, though not totally different from what I've talked about before in some videos. Victor, who, with voice-changing technology, and he claims some sort of mask to further mess up the looks of his profile and so forth, shown in silhouette, to really super disguise him, had this interview with Art Bell March 13th, 1997. He was the source of this video that's called The Alien Interview, and you can find all this on YouTube. 11 years later, he turns up and there's another interview going on in this car out in the desert. And he's complaining he's dying of cancer and that there's going to be an alien invasion sometime 2016 or 2017. He doesn't exactly give that date. He says just don't be planning a 20th year anniversary of that interview. And that would be March 13th, 2017. Okay. Now, his information that he's getting would be from sources that might be a bit contaminated, either psychically, because these aliens do bullshit a lot, or someone feeding him something or whatever. He also seems to hold very closely and desperately to the idea in a heartfelt way that the aliens were willing to help us, but we weren't willing to cooperate. They allowed themselves to be shot down to see how we would handle their people, and they were mishandled, and we failed this test. And so that and he of course rejects the Bible and all religions as just some sort of smoke screen. But he uses the concept as it's similar to the end times, apocalyptic results, and so on. Well, of course, if he were to be following the Bible, he'd realize that though something of this nature might happen in the United States or some highly technological Europe or America section, it's not going to be all that worldwide, because otherwise something like this would be mentioned in the Bible. And the Bible focuses on the Middle East. Israel primarily, action in the Middle East secondarily. To be in prophecy, you have to be either in the Middle East or a major player in it. Now, I address these issues on 7th chapter of Daniel blogspot.com. And this it remains to be seen, between now and March 13th, 2017, what, if anything, will happen. There are theories out there that there's going to be a World War III fomented by the elites who've been secretly breeding fake aliens using Nazi technology, and they'll eventually have these things come in as their front men and supposed saviors to stop the chaos that comes afterwards in the aftermath of World War III. Of course, the real ones might take advantage of all that stuff to make their move at that point. Dr. David Jacobs indicates that the invasion going on is more one that is a matter of living with us and using psychic influence. Victor says that he had felt this presence and thoughts and stuff in him that were not him when he was around the alien, and he seemed to reject it, and he still felt sorry for the alien. Looking at the video, is a good possibility there's some good case made for its being legitimate. The alien appears to be one of those categories called the Greys, and in some distress. There's always a possibility that you're looking at some kind of biological shell that was created that could, with a minimal nervous system, that could be possessed by a demon to operate physically. However, there seems to be an awful lot. This might be true in some cases, whether it's true in that case, I don't know. But it was not, it was in some kind of trouble, supposedly. Well, there's a lot of reports of crashed UFOs, and I don't think it's true they cannot be shot down unless they're willing to be. And this guy, Victor, has his limits. A case was made for him actually being Bob Dean, but there are some little problems with this. The kind of ties they were wearing in one scene do not match, in another they do. It's the sort of thing you'll find all sorts of places. And Victor does not fill out his suit the way Bob Dean does his. There's not that much stray hair sticking out around with Bob Dean as with Victor. Now the voice pattern, so I pointed out, is the speech style is different. Now this could be fake, but here's the trouble. In all this rigging him up, he had to have a lot of help. Somebody backstage, Art Bell, if not Art Bell himself, knew who he was, or at least knew what he looked like if they didn't know who he was. They helped him rig up the disguise for the camera. The people in the car, ditto. At some point, somebody has to have seen him, and it would know it was Bob Dean, and somebody rat him off. And unless this has turned up somewhere, and I missed it, and granted I didn't go through every possible page and source and so on, I don't think it's Bob Dean. You know, there's some superficial similarities between Bob Dean's reaction to the video and this guy's concern about the way the aliens are being treated, mishandled, but he has an awful lot more intense scorn for everyone and everything than Bob Dean seemed to have. So, we'll wait and see what happens, huh?